Hey guys, this is Pranay. How are you guys doing? So today we'll talk about supply chain on blockchain. Let's let's talk about supply chain on blockchain today. There are many myths which people are uh, letting go about supply chain, and let's talk in detail about how can we really apply supply chain in blockchain and what can really blockchain do here. So, as we all know, crypto markets are on fire. The Bitcoin prices have increased from $2,500 to $7,500 in just about a year. And crypto markets have also gone to $340 billion as of June 2018, which is around 4 times increase in the market size since last year. So, Bitcoin is the craze everywhere, and blockchain is the underlying technology which powers this. What we hear about blockchain is that it allows people to interact with each other in a trustless manner, and it involves multiple parties. This allows people to interact without trusting each other. So when people hear this, they generally get an idea. Can we apply this to supply chain? After all, supply chain has lots of parties involved, and it's really messy. So the key question is, will supply chains be transformed by blockchain? Well, the answer is not as simple as people make out to be. Of course, blockchain can help people a lot in creating a supply chain, but there are other ingredients which needs to be done before that happens. So let's take an example of a simple supply chain. It's an agri-export supply chain where a farm is produced by the farmers. It goes to the packers where it's packed in boxes and applied with certain certifications. Then it goes to the exporter where he checks different certifications and labels it correctly. And then it is transported over to importer in another country where he checks the certifications, and then it goes to the shops where customers buy. As you see, there are multiple parties involved here, and it involves a chance of issue of trust between them. So on first go, it looks that blockchain can solve this problem here. But the key problem in supply chain is that of provenance. We really need to find out if the product which it claims it is coming from the places where it is claiming it to be. Is it coming from the farm it claims to be? Is it coming from the country it claims to be, etc.? Now, can blockchain really solve this problem? The question here is, blockchain is just a distributed ledger, nothing else. So blockchain in itself doesn't provide provenance. It doesn't tell you if the product is coming from the place where it says it's coming from. So we need to do something more to enable this. The blockchain, so there's a physical world here where all the things of the supply chain happen. There are people who transport it. There's people who consume it, the transporter, etc. And there's the world of the blockchain, which is nothing but a set of nodes which controls, which enables a database in a decentralized manner. Now the point here is these two worlds don't talk to each other. They don't talk to each other unless when somebody says or pushes that data about the physical world into the blockchain. Right. So what does push data about the physical world in the blockchain? Generally, it's either humans or sensors. The sensor systems uses things like pressure sensor, temperature sensors, and light sensor to determine if is the crate or the box in which the supply is in the right condition, where is it going through, etc. So but the problem with this is that the physical sensors attached to an object can easily be tempered. If you apply a sensor to an object, what prevents somebody from removing that sensor and attaching another sensor? So the key idea, if you want to push data about a physical object into the blockchain is that it should have a unique digital fingerprint. A fingerprint which cannot be removed from the object even though somebody wants it to. Very few physical objects which you would be interested in do have such digital fingerprints which are inherent to the object. One such example is diamonds. So diamonds have a unique reflection pattern when a laser light is shown to them, and that can be used as a fingerprint. But not all objects do have a fingerprint. For example, how do you fingerprint a box of mangoes? So then the question is, if blockchain doesn't provide for provenance, what does it provide for? Well, it provides for censorship resistance. But what does censorship resistance means? Let's see how the world functions today. In case of supply chain, even if you apply sensors to this supply chain or to track where the boxes are and the temperatures in them, these sensors push data to a central database. So this could be a MySQL database, which is there in a Azure server or a AWS server hosted in a central database, right? So it is controlled by somebody. Now the problem with this is that the admin of the database or the server where database is stored can go rogue, right? So the trustworthy admin, which you know is always can be trusted, can go rogue, and he can change the data as he wants it to be. This problem is solved by blockchain. Now, because the data in blockchain is not stored by a single node, it's stored in all the nodes which are part of the network. So if different parties involved in the supply chain host a node, then they can see all the transactions going through the network. So the transaction will go through the packers, through the exporters, to the importers. So a single party cannot change the transactions or whatever is recorded in the system, right? If there is any attack that is made, they need to have more than 51% of the power to make the changes happen. So in blockchain, if only a single person goes rogue, the attack cannot be made. So there's no danger of a single admin getting rogue and acting in evil fashion. That's primarily censorship resistance. It also enables database to be not be controlled by police or any government. So that is the key facility or feature which blockchain provides, which helps to create a system which can be trusted. Now, some of you may ask that, can this be achieved by MySQL database? The short answer is no. Because the MySQL database is stored in a central server, which is controlled by a central authority, he at any time is able to make any changes to it, right? So the real achievement of blockchain is in achieving a source of truth among decentralized nodes. The consensus among the decentralized nodes can only add to the database and not the whim and fancy of a single admin. Now there are some approaches which people have taken to use blockchain to better track supply chain, right? So one of the good projects is Ambrosus. So Ambrosus is a decentralized IT network where they bond each item which is tracked in the supply chain to a token. All the data related to its temperature, pressure, etc., are pinged to that supply chain, to the token in the blockchain. This enables the items to be traded easily, and also it can be easily tracked. But for this to work, it needs to make sure that all the sensors are working in a correct fashion. So the Ambrosus system design also provides for anti-tampering design, where the sensors which are there are not easily tampered. Also, they have different technologies for applying sensors like marking, tags and traces, and biosensors. So an IoT system with a tamper-proof sensor system and blockchain can create a much better supply chain. Another key way to solve for this is using smart locks. So smart locks are nothing but digital locks which can be controlled through internet, and this can control the access to physical objects. So Slockit is a project which uses this technology and enables access of physical objects through smart contracts. So if you pay the amount required to access that object, the smart contract will automatically open that lock and you can use it. And once you are done, you can close it and say that your work is over. So there needs to be a physical access or control which needs to be put over the supply chain objects which you want to track. But of course, here there's a problem of what if the good is so valuable that the attackers have incentive to remove this lock. That is still a question for such systems. Another big effort which is being made for ensuring supply chain is the Belt and Road Blockchain Consortium. So it's a group of people from Hong Kong which is trying to enable international supply chain through blockchain. One of the key components is this project is the use of e-locks, which is similar to the smart locks which we have discussed before, where all the parties involved in the supply chain have agreed to use a particular standard and of e-lock so that all parties are able to trust it, right? So as you see, to enable blockchain, so this is the sort of thing which they are planning to use. So as you can see, blockchain can improve supply chain, but only as a mechanism for censorship resistance. It doesn't ensure that all data in the supply chain is correct. And so it depends also on the improvements in sensors technology and the human relevance to ensure that the correct data is being fed. Once the data being fed to the blockchain is correct, what blockchain ensures that is that there's no single party which can manually edit this data. That's all what blockchain provides for and nothing else. So I hope you got something out of this, understood how supply chain can be used with blockchain. Remember, blockchain is nothing which solves for everything. It works with existing systems to give a better system. And in case of supply chain, it doesn't solve for product provenance. It only solves for censorship systems. So let's look deeply into projects when we talk about a subject where blockchain cannot be applied, unless you don't want to be feel like him. That's all for guys. Do let me know how you liked this video, and do let me know if you have any comments or how can we make this better. Thank you. So thanks guys. That was one of the first episodes of Blockchain Mythbusters. So here we try to get deep into applications of blockchain and understand how and where actually blockchain helps in that application, and how much is the myth and how much is the reality. Thank you. Thanks a lot.